UFC 329, the return of Conor McGregor. I know I speak for, I feel like, pretty much everybody when I say that I never thought this was going to happen. And if you thought this was going to happen, I think you're a liar. I don't think you thought this was going to happen. But here we are. Conor McGregor, theoretically, is back fighting Max Holloway. Tough fight for Conor. We're going to talk about that when I break it down. I might do a whole video kind of breaking down Conor in this fight. But I want to talk about this card real quick because this card is real nice. And I have a lot of faith in some of our underdogs on this card. So looking forward to giving the rundown here of what the card looks like and my thoughts and early predictions. Let's start off right away with Alessandro Costa versus Cody Durden. Now, I think Alessandro Costa is pretty good. I think Cody Durden is pretty bad. I know Cody Durden occasionally has his moments where he does something that nobody thinks he could get away with, and yet somehow, some way he does. I don't think I foresee that here. I think this is going to be a pretty classic Cody Durden bag fumble where he tries to win in a certain way and just isn't able to do it and gets outdogged by Alessandro Costa, who, let's face it, is just a little bit more violent, a little more bullish, and a little bit more likely to take this fight, I think. So, not a whole lot to say on this one. I'm going with Alessandro Costa, who is a pretty sizable favorite. So, you may have seen by the title of this video, I got a feeling we got a lot of underdogs that are going to perform on this card. Alessandro Costa or Cody Durden is not one of them. Moving on, up the card, we have an underdog who I do think is going to perform. Zachary Reese versus Ryan Gandra. I do not think Ryan Gandra is all that good, and I do think Zachary Reese is pretty good, despite him coming off a loss. I think Zachary Reese has a really great frame. He has a pretty good reach advantage here and a height advantage, which I think is going to serve him well against Ryan Gandra. I don't think Ryan Gandra is amazing. I know he's like borderline undefeated and pretty dang good. I'm aware of that, but I think Zachary Reese is better. I think the range is going to serve him a lot in this matchup. And he just strikes me as the kind of guy who would get really crazy about wanting to perform on a McGregor card. So I don't really have a whole lot of science behind this matchup, but I got a good feeling about Zachary Reese pulling up a little upset here against Ryan Gandra. So I'm going to go Zachary Reese in that fight. Pretty easy. So, can't even click to enlarge this one. That's so great. Farid Basharat versus John Garza was supposed to be Farid Basharat versus Ethan Ewing. Would have been an amazing fight. I don't know who fucking John Garza is. I don't know if any of you do. I'm going with Farid Basharat. If he's the fucking dog, that's crazy. They must have not updated that. These must have been the odds from when it was Ethan Ewing. Because who the fuck is John Garza? So Farid Basharat, free win, as far as I'm concerned. Moving on up the card. Damian Pinos. Big ol' hard Pinos versus Cesar Almeida. I think Cesar Almeida is good. I think Cesar Almeida is a little bit limited. And he's also a little bit on the older side. And you look at that range for Damian Pinos. That's pretty impressive. Nice long Pinos. Pretty crazy. I think I'm going to go with Damian Pinos. Cesar Almeida's on the older side. I think he's a little bit one-dimensional. I think Damian Pinos is a legitimate contender in the middleweight division. I think he's going to put some nasty hands and whatever else on Cesar Almeida's face, and he's going to get him out of there pretty early, I think. I would go Damian Pinos by an early finish. So I know I said I'm taking underdogs. I promise I am. Well, we'll get to them. We'll get to them. Wang Kong versus Tracy Cortez. Who's the dog in this one? It's pretty even. It's an interesting, really interesting fight, honestly. I'm inclined to go with Tracy Cortez, to be honest. Tracy Cortez is a tough customer. She's tricky. She knows how to get it done. Wang Kong is as well. But I think physicality-wise, Tracy Cortez would have a pretty meaningful advantage here. They're pretty much identical on paper. They have the exact same reach. And Tracy Cortez, it's a tough customer, man. I don't think she's ever been finished. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she's ever been finished. Wang Kong is a finisher. But over the course of a decision, that's Tracy Cortez's bread and butter. You know, winning a split decision or winning a close to unanimous decision. That's what Tracy Cortez does best. You know, that's where she thrives. So I'm inclined to think that that's the best path for her in this one. I hate to say it, but I think Tracy Cortez is going to win this one. I like Wang Kong. She's a fun addition to the women's divisions. Tracy Cortez is hot. That's kind of, what she's got going for her on a large level. unfortunately, and she leans into that. And I'd prefer to see Wang Kong win this because I think she'd be a more interesting contender at the top. But I think Tracy Cortez is going to craft this one up to a decision. So I'm going Tracy Cortez by decision. I think she's a very slight dog. I promise we're going to get to the real dogs coming up soon. Moving on to the card. Luke Riley versus Kai Kamaka III. So here's the thing. I know I said I'm picking underdogs, but I'm picking Luke Riley. Hate to say it. I do hate to say it. Luke Riley is going to win. Kai Kamaka is very average. Luke Riley is very above average. He's got incredible striking, which is Kai Kamaka's thing, so it's going to be contested on the feet. And I think Luke Riley catches him pretty easily, man. Luke Riley, this is a big show for him on the McGregor card alongside Paddy. This is going to be a very interesting matchup for Luke Riley. Kai Kamaka is no joke, but I think Luke Riley gets this done fairly easily, and I think this will be the last gimme matchup for Luke Riley. I think after he beats Kai Kamaka, he has a lot more interesting matchups down the line, right? Right outside that top 15 at featherweight, the Dan Igues of the world, if you will, right? I think that's what is in store for Luke Riley's future. So for now, I'm going to go Luke Riley with those nasty hands. The grappling is definitely a concern of his. We saw that against Bogdan Grad. But Kai Kamaka doesn't really do that. So I'm going Luke Riley here. I'm going to say he wins this fight by TKO. Promise I'm going to get to some underdogs. Here's a perfect example. Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. Fuck you. I'm going with Cody. I'm going with no love. I'm going with Cody Garbrandt, bro. Adrian Yanez is good. No doubt about it. He has no wrestling threat. Cody Garbrandt, when he's just allowed to contest on the feet, Adrian Yanez is going to be coming at him with big shots, causing Cody Garbrandt to have to open up. I think Cody Garbrandt is going to open up, and I think he's going to show up big time in this matchup. I really do. I think he understands that this is a really big matchup for him. Adrian Yanez is good. No doubt about it. I was really high on Adrian Yanez back in the day. Rob Font got him out of there. Cody Garbrandt beat Rob Font. I know it doesn't work that way, but I just have a feeling, man, that this is going to be a vintage Cody Garbrandt performance with Adrian Yanez coming forward, throwing those hands, leaving plenty of opportunity for the lightning speed of Cody Garbrandt to get him out of there. I think Adrian Yanez is going to come in cocky. I think he's going to come in thinking like a lot of people think, oh, Cody Garbrandt, Jesus Christ, minus 425 for Yanez is crazy. But Cody Garbrandt, big underdog here, a lot past his prime. Everyone kind of knows that, or so they say. I think Adrian Yanez is going to go into this with that expectation. I think Cody Garbrandt is going to spoil the show here with his lightning fast hands. I think Adrian Yanez is going to open up on the feet. I think Cody Garbrandt is going to be able to evade, going to be able to get into good positions, and going to clip Adrian Yanez on the way in. Let's not forget who this man is. I know he's had a rough run of it recently, a very rough run of it recently. But Cody Garbrandt's hand speed is unlike anything you've ever seen before. And when it's forced to be him and another striker on the feet, full exchanging, I got a good feeling about Cody Garbrandt, man. I just have a good feeling about him. I feel like we haven't seen a truly vintage Garbrandt performance recently. I think this is the one where he shines. So I'm going with Cody No Love Garbrandt by second round TKO against Adrian Yanez. How's that for a fucking underdog? Cody Garbrandt, you're my guy. Moving on up the card. Gable Steveson and Alicia Ellison. Who the fuck is Alicia Ellison, right? I mean, we know this, right? I mean, fucking the odds here are absurd. Minus 2,500 for Gable. I think that's silly. I think that's a huge favorite. But obviously, I'm going with Gable Steveson. Gable Steveson has the potential to be the greatest heavyweight on the planet, given that Olympic wrestling background. John Jones training him. Pretty good striking, too. Alicia Ellison is essentially nobody. So there's not even really much to break down here. I think Gable Steveson is either going to Bo Nickel Alicia Ellison, where it's like, oh, here's this big wrestler coming in, and he just whips him with a gnarly overhand that no one sees coming and puts him out with just a big, like, wrestling overhand, you know what I mean? Or he takes him down and beats the shit out of him. But I see this being a first-round KO for Gable Steveson, and I think most of you do too. Moving on up the card. Now we're getting to the interesting ones. Robert Whittaker versus Nikita Krylov. Whittaker moving up to light heavyweight, which is interesting because Whittaker was already a smaller middleweight. So him moving up is curious to me. Very curious to me. What do we have here for odds? Very close, but Krylov's the favorite. I'm going with Nikita Krylov, unfortunately. I love Robert Whittaker, but I'm going with the favorite here. Robert Whittaker is good, but he was a small middleweight, and he's going to be a small light heavyweight. He's going to be a very small light heavyweight. And what did Robert Whittaker have that gave him advantage? It was his footwork, his explosivity, his in and out blitzing. Uh, Lighter man skill, could that translate to light heavyweight where he's just far too fast for Nikita Krylov? Maybe. Nikita Krylov is not chinny. Well, he kind of is chinny. But Robert Whittaker doesn't really have all that much power, although he might at light heavyweight. Krylov's a wild boy. Whittaker is very refined. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going with Whittaker. I'm going with Robert Whittaker. That inside out blitzing and that speed in which he operates, I think that's actually going to work really well for him at light heavyweight, despite being a smaller guy. My concern with Whittaker is his chin. Krylov is not exactly the heaviest hitter, although he does hit pretty hard. But that's my biggest concern for Whittaker is that he'd get caught on the chin by Krylov. But I think Whittaker, that in and out movement, that bouncing around, that speed, that hand speed, the blitzing karate style, that might serve him well here, where Krylov is a bit chinny. And if Whittaker, with lighter man speed and with hopefully a little bit more power at light heavyweight, can put those hands on him, listen, man, we might be onto something. So I think I am gonna go with Robert Whittaker to get Nikita Krylov out of there, second or third round TKO due to hand speed, just blitzing in and out, getting him on the inside, taking him out before he can swing back. I think Krylov's a wild man. I think he'll leave himself open to a Whittaker blitz, and I think Whittaker will get Krylov out of there. I think Krylov's kind of done. He was good, but then he took such a time off, and then since he's come back, he's been really whatever. I don't see much of a future at light heavyweight for Robert Whittaker. I hate to say it. I love Robert Whittaker, but I don't really see a great future for him here at light heavyweight. I think this is a decent matchup for him against Krylov, but I think maybe this is the last one he wins, unless you give him like Jamal Hill. But Jamal Hill's moving up to heavyweight, I think. So who's to say? But you know what? I'm going with Robert Whittaker. Second or third round TKO. Make me money. Bobby Knuckles, make me money. Moving on to the card. Main card. Terrence McKinney, King Green. I'm going King Green. Say what you will. I'm going King Green. I think this fight is going to last a minute. I think we know that. Fucking, this is a great fight, too. Terrence McKinney is just such a nightmare. He just comes in and throws crazy fists and just goes nuts with it. I think this is either going to be a King Green, like, you ain't ready for this kind of performance where they both go in scrapping and King Green gets the better of it, which he fully has the power to do. Or Terrence McKinney is going to cool it and be skillful for once in his life, where he's going to show that grappling. Terrence McKinney's got pretty fucking good grappling. He doesn't use it much, but he does have it. And then obviously he's crazy on the feet, is Terrence McKinney. I'm going to go with King Green. This fight could go either way. I would dare not bet on this fight, other than betting it ends in the first round. Thank you, Terrence McKinney, for that. He's either finished or finishes in the first round pretty much every single time. Such an exciting fighter. Great matchup here with him and King Green. Just going to be a lot of fun. But I think they're going to get into a crazy exchange. My prediction is that King Green gets the better of that crazy exchange and puts Terrence out. But there's a very realistic world where Terrence gets the better of that exchange and puts King Green out, or better yet, works in the grappling and is able to get King Green out of there that way. But I just got a feeling that Bobby's going to put some hands on Terrence. I don't know. This might be like an like you must have forgot big brother kind of moment here from King Green. So I got a good feeling about King Green. So I'm going with King Green. I'm going to say he puts out Terrence McKinney in the first round. Could Terrence McKinney win this? Absolutely. Of any of the fights on this card, this is the one you shouldn't bet on. This is the one you shouldn't bet on. So going with King Green. First or second round. What am I talking about? First round KO. Now we get to the interesting fights. Brandon Royval versus Loney Kavanaugh. Loney Kavanaugh put absolute fucking mustard on Brandon Moreno in their last fight, where he beat the snot out of him. Brandon Royval got knocked out in his last fight by Manel Kape. Loney Kavanaugh has a loss to Charles Johnson. Brandon Royval has a similar style and similar build to Charles Johnson. Loney Kavanaugh is the minus 220 favorite. I'm going with Loney Kavanaugh. As much as I'd love to go with Brandon Royval here, I think Kavanaugh's a really bad matchup for Royval, similar to Kape. I think Kavanaugh will be able to get on the inside and put fucking hands on him. That's my fear. Royval's defense has never been amazing. He's got that pitter patter striking. You saw that against Joshua Van. I think Kavanaugh's kind of a similar breed to Van, where he'll be able to get in there with the hands and, you know, take advantage of Brandon Royval. All Royval's really got going for him is the quick little baba. He's got that lead hand out there all the time. Good for him, but I think Aloni Kavanaugh would be able to get on the inside of that and give him some real problems. So I'm inclined to go with Aloni Kavanaugh. Could Brandon Royval get it done? I think so, but I think he would have to do it in a similar way that Charles Johnson did, which is just by fluking Loney Kavanaugh with his hands. And I think Kavanaugh's improved since then. We saw that since his loss to Charles Johnson, that his defense has gotten a lot better. And it looks like Royval may be beginning to regress. So I think this is a tailor-made matchup for Loney Kavanaugh. I think this is a really great way to bump him into the top 5 of flyweight. I think this is a great way to introduce Loney Kavanaugh to the world on this McGregor card, on this stage. And I think this is a good kind of passing of the torch moment for Brandon Royval. So, going to go with Loney Kavanaugh. I'm going to say decision, but beating the shit out of him. May even put him out of there. Hate to do it, but I think that's what's got to happen. So, Loney Kavanaugh is going to win this fight, I think. Moving on up the card. Cory Sandhagen, Mario Batista. I'm going Mario Batista, honestly. Cory Sandhagen's good. I'm worried about him. He just hasn't looked the same in his recent matchups. I mean, his last fight was Marab, so it's been a bit where he got fucking beat up and then owned. I mean, he almost got TKO'd by Marab, and then he got kind of dogged on. So wherever his confidence is a question for me. And then Mario Batista, man, he just beat the shit out of Vinicius Oliveira, which is a good win. Before that, he had a razor close fight with Umar Nurmagomedov. That's one of the best performances anyone has ever had against Umar. Dropped Umar. Mario Batista's fucking good. He's fucking really good. We know he's really good. Both of these guys are kind of in the same world for me. They're both these, like, really technical, really intelligent fighters. I think Mario Batista may just be the new version of Cory Sandhagen. I think Mario Batista fits in better to the current bantamweight top 5 than Cory Sandhagen does. I like Cory very much, in fact. But I think Mario Batista is going to win this fight by decision. I think Batista is just going to be a little quicker. Yeah, I think he's going to have a big advantage on the ground. We saw that with Cory Sandhagen in his fight with Umar, where he really struggled compared to Mario. And then Mario provides a very good threat on the feet as well. And Mario's a dog. He is. I know we all shit on him for the Aldo performance. And believe me, I'm never letting that go. But I think he's really fucking good. And I think Cory's really good too, but I think Cory may be reaching a point here where he's not a top dog anymore. I think the skill differential may just be growing, and I think Mario Batista might just be a harbinger of that next generation. So, another underdog going with Mario Batista over Cory Sandhagen by decision. I think it's going to be a really interesting competitive matchup. Could be really boring. Don't think it will be. And I think Batista's going to win this in a smudgy way, but a better smudgy way than Aldo did. So I'm going Mario Batista, man. I'm going Mario Batista. Moving on up the card. Paddy Pimblett versus BSD. I'm going with Paddy the Batty, baby. We're going with Paddy Pimblett. We're going with Paddy Pimblett. I know his best win is Michael Chandler. I get that. I understand that. And that's not good. That's not good at all. But you look at Paddy's fight against Gaethje. He did pretty well. I know Gaethje looked ridiculous in that fight, and now Gaethje's champ, so obviously you can't take too much away from that. But I take a lot out of that. I do take a lot out of that. And then you look at Benoit and his most recent performances. Who's he beaten? Dan Hooker. Okay. Hoofy. I mean, all right, that's impressive. Dariush. He's beating these guys. Cool. Those are better wins than Paddy's against Chandler and Tony. Sure. But who's beaten Benoit? Poirier. Okay. We're not going to account for that very much. It's really hard for me not to think about the Moicano fight here. Honestly, it's really hard for me not to. Paddy Pimblett is great at ground and pound, great at grappling. I mean, I know it's Michael Chandler, but he beat the snot out of Chandler on the ground in that way, which has been shown to be potentially BSD's area of weakness. I think BSD is good. I think Paddy's better at what BSD's good at. I think this is a tailor-made match for Paddy. Honestly, I think Paddy's going to get BSD to the ground. I know BSD is a great grappler in his own right, but we've really only seen it offensively. In defensive situations, he struggles, and we've seen that time and time again against a litany of people, but especially Moicano. That Moicano fight is tough for me to not think about when I think of this matchup because that is Paddy Pimblett's game. Like that is what he's going to want to do. I think Paddy's only UFC loss being against Jared Gordon, haha, but against Justin Gaethje now looks pretty good considering Gaethje's champ. Whereas BSD's best UFC, win is against Dan Hooker. And I get that's better than Michael Chandler, but Paddy gave Justin Gaethje a hell of a fight. And Benoit got his ass beat by Dustin Poirier, his ass beat by Renato Moicano. It's tough for me not to think about that, man. It's really tough for not to think about that because the way Moicano beat BSD is the way that Paddy Pimblett would beat BSD on the ground, beating his ass. That's what he's gonna want to do. So unless BSD's patched a hole in his game, and let's not forget BSD looks fucking slow on the feet. He's always been really plotty on the feet. His kicks are good, but they're slow. Paddy's nothing special on the feet, but he's a little more dynamic than that. He's a little more dynamic than that. I think he has a better jiu-jitsu game. So going with another underdog in Paddy Pimblett here to get the win over Benoit Saint-Denis in the co-main event of this card. We're going Paddy Pimblett. After that, the world's his oyster. He's get that Ilya fight, get Conor, depending. I mean, I think the Ilya fight makes the most sense if Paddy wins this. So going with Paddy Pimblett over BSD. Moving on to the main event. Just looking at this is crazy. Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. I know I'm going with underdogs. I cannot. But Strickland beat Hamzat. Gaethje beat Ilya. Conor is not going to beat Max. I'm going with Max. Hate to do it. Hate to say it. I know Max is fucking not as big a favorite as I would have guessed. But, yeah, man, I'm going with Max. You have to. You have to. Could Conor get it done? Maybe, but you have to go with Max. There's interesting nuance here. There is the fact that it's at 170 is interesting, for sure. That's very interesting. The fact that Max has been getting hit a lot in his recent fights is interesting with a guy like Conor. There are X factors here that are worth thinking about. But there are certain factors going against Conor that we just cannot ignore. The biggest one by a mile is he's been out of the cage for 6 years, while Max has been top of the game active. Like, Max Holloway lost to Charles Oliveira in a dominant fight via grappling, which is not what Conor's going to do. But that's how Max lost that fight. Prior to that, what was his last loss? Volk? I mean, Max put belt to ass on Justin Gaethje. That aged well. Belt to ass on Dustin Poirier. Max has done some really impressive things recently where Conor certainly has not. I mean, Conor's last win is Cowboy. Looked like ass in the Dustin Poirier second fight. Third fight, he looked a little better until he broke his leg. I don't know, man. I mean, is there a world in which Conor gets absolute hands on Holloway and puts him out of there? Maybe. But if you're Conor, why'd you take this? I get it's a big, exciting matchup, but like, Chandler, you should have just taken Chandler. Get a win, and then you could have had anything, really. This is a really tough fight for Conor to come back to, and I'll talk about it more when I do an individual breakdown of this fight and the context around it, which I will do. But Holloway's thing is volume striking, right? I think Conor, having been out of the cage for as long as he has, 6 years, however long, I think when Holloway gets those hands on him, assuming that the weight jump isn't anything crazy, assuming he still has his pop, he still has his power, maybe he has more pop, but still has his speed, if Max can get on Conor with those 5-6 punch combinations that he throws so effortlessly to the head, to the body, I just don't think Conor's got the dog in him anymore to really eat that up. I think Conor's going to show his hand here almost immediately. Throw some crazy shit, wild techniques in the first round. I think that's the only way Conor has a chance here because there's no way that Conor can drag this out for 5 rounds better than Holloway can. There's just no way. There's just no way. I mean, you have to think at welterweight, realistically, Holloway will have even more cardio. So you can't, if you're Conor, you can't try and decision Max here. It's not going to happen, right? I mean, Holloway's going to land more on you. So if you're Conor, you got to get him out of there, and you got to get him out of there early. And I think Max knows that, and I think Max will be able to mitigate that with those pitter patter shots that keep him at bay and keep him defensive. And before you know it, Conor will have blown his load. I think he's got like 3 minutes of like, wow, Conor McGregor's back, and then he's gonna fall apart against Max Holloway. I think Max Holloway is gonna put him out of there. Mid to late fight, maybe round 3, round 4. I think Holloway's just gonna up the volume, put those hands on him, and get Conor out of there, and it'll be a sad end for the career of McGregor. I mean, I don't know what he does after this. He says he has one more fight in his contract. Maybe he does, and maybe there's a fun matchup we could find. But this is a really tough match for Conor to come back to. I'm honestly impressed he took this because it's a really tough fight. But I just don't see a world in which it doesn't go that way. So hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it actually because Max Holloway is one of my favorite fighters. But you hate to see a legend like Conor McGregor come back to be thrown into the meat grinder like this. If Conor wins, oh baby, oh man, is the world his oyster. He's got the Gaethje fight. He's got the Paddy fight maybe. He's got the Islam fight. I mean, if Conor wins this, holy shit. Holy shit. But is he gonna? I just don't think so. So I'm going Max Holloway, late rounds TKO. I think that's the fair bet. Is there a chance Conor can pull this off? Maybe, but you can't bet for that. You just can't. The rational mind suggests that Max is gonna win this, and I'm sticking with the rational mind. So going with Max Holloway. It's a great card. It really is a great card. So excited to see Conor back. Can't wait to talk about that a little bit more in detail in another video. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you think's going to win this. Do you think Conor has a chance? Do you think the underdogs that I have picked have a chance? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Looking forward to this card. Can't wait to break it down. Until then, I'll see you later.